And this game was full of fireworks. It did come down to a critical series of moves, though. And in this position, Magnus Carlsen, he actually went for the most natural move. He went forward with check. What can be more natural in chess? He brought his queen forward, attacking the black king. But now, after the black king sidesteps, Magnus realized there's no follow-up. White is just a pawn down for nothing, and he should be losing this game. If we fast forward a few moves now, after Magnus attacked the black bishop, it looks like he's threatening checkmate, but black's queen started giving a lot of checks. And the moment that Adhiban let the win slip was actually a few moves in the future, not too much changing after a few checks here. Adhiban, if he had just pushed his pawn forward calmly, pushing this passed pawn, it's only 3 squares away from becoming a new queen, he would have won this game. He's defending everything. Most importantly, he's defending this bishop with his queen. Magnus would be powerless to stop the advance of this pawn. So Adhiban close to winning this game, but that shows against the best players in the world, you need to continue being accurate. You need to seize all your chances. And Adhiban, maybe just a little bit of panic, a little bit of inaccuracy, not pushing this pawn. He did let the win slip. Impressive fight from both sides. Pushing a pawn forward 1 square.
It's like a mouse slip.
Yeah, it's not a mouse slip this time. It's getting ready. It's just preparing a nice home for this bishop along this fantastic diagonal. And a couple of moves later, this did happen. Black pushing a pawn, white bringing the knight out first before the bishop, but now this bishop landing on a great square. And yeah, from here, lots of maneuvering happened. It got very, very tense. But I just want to show the last couple of moves because this was very spectacular by white. In this position, white is in charge. White has 2 rooks on this 7th rank. We always say that this is the key, 7th heaven. Also, this white queen nicely centralized. And here, Adhiban calculated correctly that he could actually give up his queen. He played rook takes pawn. He's going for checkmate. He's threatening rook takes bishop and trapping this black king in the corner. But after queen check, black going for some counterplay, the king stepping forward, and now queen check again. Oh, no, sorry, pawn check. And now the king hiding. After Giri gave check with his queen, Adhiban had realized that he can just ignore it. He can just push his pawn, blocking the check, allowing his queen to be captured. But if Giri does capture this queen, we would have seen checkmate on the board. Giri actually resigned in this position, but if he had played queen takes queen, then look at this. Rook takes bishop, trapping the black king. White is a queen down, but these 2 rooks together do a perfect job, and this would be checkmate. A real masterpiece by Adhiban in that one. Yes, so actually everything was perfect pretty much from Gukesh, and then it was just this moment was where he allowed Magnus back into the game. Here, Magnus has just pushed a pawn, attacking black's knight, and Gukesh very naturally playing the most obvious move. He just captured these pawns, but actually this actually helps white. White's rook suddenly active on an open line, and we did later see a trade of rooks. White's pieces getting very active. Instead, Gukesh could have kept his decisive advantage by ignoring the white pawn, ignoring this trade and just moving his knight instead, just bringing his knight to the side of the board. And the whole idea is that now if white continues in the same way he did in the game, if he captures the black pawn in the middle, then now this would actually lead to an immediate win for black. Black could unleash knight takes pawn, and we see a deadly pin on this line. The white pawn cannot capture because the rook behind it would fall. And for example, if the rook runs away from the attack, knight takes another pawn, attacking the rook again, attacking this pawn. Gukesh would have been 2 pawns up and would have won this game. Close shave for the world champion, and Gukesh, even after letting that slip, he did defend very, very nicely.
Gukesh was Duda was winning, and then Gukesh was winning.
Yeah, I mean,
and then it was still winning for Gukesh, and then it was a draw, and then it was not a draw, and then it was like whoa. tricks abound. So unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, if we just rewind a bit, we saw that position later on where anything could still happen. White had all those pawns. We saw white's pawns on the right side race down the board and eventually make a new queen. But actually, Gukesh could have won the game in one move. In this position, he could have just simply... Okay, he did step his king to the side, getting out of the check, and after knight takes pawn, eliminating the black pawn, he just chose the wrong square for his rook. He brought his rook to this side, allowing white to suddenly give a check, attacking the black king, and suddenly the white knight got active, everything went wrong for black, and it spiraled out of control. But he chose the wrong square. He still had a few minutes at this point. He could have found the most active square with his rook. He could have brought his rook down into the position, attacking White's knight and attacking pawns on this side. So once White's knight moves out of the attack, you can simply capture, and you don't have to worry about your king. It's completely safe. It will just hide away if it needs to. Black here is actually threatening checkmate in a couple of different ways, and Black would have won this game. So Gukesh could have finished his opponent off here, but all credit to Jan-Krzysztof Duda. Once the black rook went to the wrong square, he never looked back. He never made a slip again. He gave a check and improved the white knight, putting it in the center of the board, and suddenly all bets were off, all results possible, and Duda in the end using his greater experience to outmaneuver his young opponent.